As the showdown approaches, Port fans will be salivating over the return of their beloved prison bar jumpers to the AFL stage. Most of us are now familiar with the controversy surrounding Port Adelaide's heritage Guernsey, but it got me thinking about AFL jumpers in more detail. How have Guernseys been regulated in the past? What is the clash policy now? And finally, on a more conceptual level, what do AFL jumpers mean? As I learned from Code Sport's Daniel Cherney, there were no jumper clash rules in the old VFL. If you were the away team, it was enough that you simply wore white shorts. But two things changed this dramatically. The first was the Brisbane Bears entering the competition. With a strip very similar to Hawthorn's, a new jumper was needed to avoid a clash. The second was the TV rights explosion of the 2000s. While ex-players like Dustin Fletcher are on record saying the players had no issues with jumper clashes, broadcast partners certainly did. This spurred the AFL into action, but very limited action. The AFL's clash policy and jumper guidelines are not public. We don't know how they determine a clash or the exact specifications they give clubs about how their home and clash jumpers are designed. It's worth noting that the AFL can make these dictations. They actually own the intellectual IP of all 18 clubs. What we do know is that these guidelines have been sharpened over time. When the AFL first mandated clash jumpers, clubs resisted. They simply took their home jumpers, changed one tiny element and called it a day. Who could forget the Tigers adding yellow panelling to their supposed clash jumper, or Essendon's hilariously large novelty red sash? Things have thankfully changed. In 2023, the Dons have a bright red strip, and the Tigers have their highlighter Premiership yellow. But here's the interesting thing. Even with these clash jumpers in rotation, clubs will still opt to wear their home jumper whenever they're allowed, even if they're the away team, and even if it risks a potential clash for players and fans. We saw the white shorts employed in round one's first two games, with the navy blue against black, and black and white stripes versus navy blue and white hoops. This is worth noting because it's not something that's mirrored by other major sporting codes. Manchester United don't wear white shorts with their red top when they play at Anfield. The Celtics often wear black both home and away. And Aston Villa, Burnley and West Ham all basically wear the same thing. And to use the prison bar analogy, the idea that the Chicago Bulls would tell the Toronto Raptors that they can't wear red in a home game against the Nuggets is frankly laughable. These codes see their clash kits not as a way to preserve their history, but as a way to experiment with new colours and ideas. And, of course, to make chumps like me buy 20 different jumpers a year. It seems to me that Aussie Rules fans have a unique attachment to their team's jumpers, especially the big, old Victorian clubs. In fact, many of these clubs have their colours enshrined into their very constitution. These clubs are ancient and venerable, and their jumpers are the primary link to that history. Carlton received plaudits when they changed their CFC back to its 1920s design. Same with the Bulldogs. Collingwood and Geelong's jumpers wouldn't be out of place in 1897. These jumpers are more than a tool of the club, they are the club. And to be fair, the same could be said of Port Adelaide wanting to wear their prison bar jumper. This is in contrast to some of the AFL's newer clubs, who are far more likely to innovate or, at the very least, have genuine clash jumpers. And as a jumper collector and design enthusiast myself, it makes them a heck of a lot more fun. Dons fans will never know the joy of owning the equivalent of a 3D anchor jumper, and for that, I pity them. I know that home jumpers won't change. And if you like the link to the past, or don't like the cynical commercialisation of jumper redesigns, I respect that. But let's not burden our clash jumpers with that same expectation. Put the pies in pink when they go interstate. Let's get a green Cats jumper. Buy Essendon's marketing team the full Adobe suite and let them go hog wild on Illustrator. Let's have less clashes and more colour.
If you've got an aspect of your team you think we should take a look at this year, let us know in the comments and be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more footy content.